Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to my first Duet Night Abyss EP reaction. I don't know anything about this game. I've seen the title floating around for a few months, but that's literally all the information I've got. This is apparently Phantasio, Heart of Innocence. Don't know what any of that really means at the end of the day. I have no context for it, but Lazarian, my executive producers, wants me to get to this one, so I hope it's good. I've got to assume it's good. People usually don't request stuff and spend money to do that unless it is, so I'm hoping this is really good, and I guess without further ado, let's go! Also, I'm sorry about the little bar up there. Windows 11 had an update and it broke my screen capture. I'll fix it before the next video. Starting out strong here with the organ, one of my personal favorites. And also that music box tone too.
They smile so
ooh,
bright,
vocals.
and it lights up my night. How I wish I had known. My frozen heart, it's been cold for a lifetime. How I wish I could feel the world inside.
Why does that vocalist sound familiar?
Flames of war, raging day by day.
God, that sounds so familiar. I'm gonna have to look at the credits after this.
No turning back. I've decided to keep her safe. Come and take my heart. That's what it
Ooh. Ooh. Beautiful build on the energy there. Back off a little bit. We love a good dynamic song. Nice shift. That was a really nice shift to the energy. Like an entire key adjustment to that. Another choir. Oh. This is exactly what I expect from somebody wearing a Phantom of the Opera flavored mask.
The oath I've made now
God. God, belt that note at the end. Man, why does that voice sound familiar? It's like the belt sounds so familiar. Is that PelleK? Does PelleK do this sort of thing? I've only known him for like metal stuff. Does he do this? There's no way that's PelleK. It's fucking PelleK. I did not know that he had that sort of game. I was not familiar with his Broadway game at all. Although, to be fair, I haven't heard him sing in years. Last time I heard him sing was probably a decade ago. I haven't really kept up with him and his work or anything. So maybe this is more what he's doing now. Maybe he's doing like collaboration stuff of this persuasion instead of the metal stuff that I know him from. Wild though. Wild that that was actually him. It just, he's got such a telltale vibrato, especially in that belt range. So I was like, there was no way. There's also a lot of Broadway performers that have a similar tone. So I wasn't assuming until the very end when apparently it is, and it just caught me off guard. I just didn't think I would be right there. But like I said during the reaction, this has a great dynamic range and is exactly what I would expect from this sort of a character, these very dramatic style characters that have the whole like motif of the Phantom of the Opera feeling feeling going on, and they're like sitting here with all this, you know, shit around them, basically just the complete mess, and it's like, oh, they went crazy, you know. It's just sitting in that torment of their life because, God, life is so hard. Again, I don't know anything about these characters. I have no clue what their backgrounds are. I don't know anything, but at the same time, that's the vibe I'm getting. I don't know if this is a villain. It could be a good person as well, but it just has the vibe of the, oh, woe is me, my parents never understood me and now I'm evil. But that's exactly the vibe I get from Phantom of the Opera, despite knowing better too. It's just kind of the thing that it feels like. But at the same time, there is a beauty in how these songs are composed. There's tragedy in that because of that vibe, that feeling that you can relate with a character that's been through so much, and that's what's being shared through the song. The intensity, the power, just the in general, the composition of this one with the chord progression specifically just dragging you down. You cannot help yourself but feel awful, but also weirdly empowered by it. That's again the same thing that Phantom of the Opera is based around too. They did such a good job with that soundtrack, and this in kind has a very similar vibe to it. So that's really mostly what's getting me with this one, is just how well it was composed. I can't tell either. This sounds like it probably was made in like a DAW, just like in a digital audio workstation. They just have synthetic instruments and they put it all together. But at the same time, they did a really good job at balancing it, where I could be fooled that this would be a live studio orchestra putting this together. It's possible it is. I really don't know. But man, they made it sound good if it's not. The arrangement of it was beautiful too, like perfect accents exactly where they needed to be to sell those emotional moments. They really did a good job at placing everything in this song and taking all of the gas off the fire right when you needed to focus on those emotional moments. They did a fantastic job with that. It's not often that you get a song that's so dynamically aware. Usually when they go for this sort of sound and this sort of energy from a character, they want you to feel basically an immediate emotional response, and they want to keep that emotion high, and they don't tend to back off too often. But for this one, they backed off like 2 separate times and allowed the character to really resonate their feelings better with the listener, and that's fantastic. And that's a very musical theater sort of way to handle it, instead of something that's a little bit more orchestral and standard, where it's like, sure, it can be dynamic, but the way it's handled is different for something that's like on a live stage for orchestra versus on a live stage for a Broadway show. You have to be there to be able to show the emotions physically. In this case, with the performance from PelleK here, also very, very good there. You could feel those emotional shifts. You could tell where the character was reflecting on themselves and sharing their frustration with you. Very Count of Monte Cristo, the musical, in that way. Very, very well done on that end. By the way, if you haven't seen that musical, fantastic. Listen to the soundtrack if you haven't. But man, this is really, really cool. And I love that energy. I guess if anything, like Phantom of the Opera is what I've been saying, but this definitely does lean more Count of Monte Cristo to me than Phantom of the Opera when it gets down to the drama of it. Because sure, Phantom of the Opera is kind of the more like common ground to run to, because a lot more people are aware of that when it's more popular. But the Count of Monte Cristo hits this anger and this sort of like reflection a lot deeper. The reflection might be more similar to, I've brought up the Jekyll and Hyde musical before. The reflection of that character's dynamic is definitely a lot more similar to this one, where the character needs to like take a moment, step back, and talk to themselves and share that with you. So there's that dramatic feeling of knowing what they're going through, and they're sharing the story directly with you instead of just yelling to the heavens, more like how Count of Monte Cristo handles it. But I digress. This was a very, very well done song, and if this is the first exposure, I'm very excited to hear more from this game, because like I said, I don't know anything about this one. I cover a lot of games that are kind of in the same field pretty often. Basically every day of my life, I'm listening to music from these soundtracks from games that are like this. But this is the first one I've heard from this one. So it's always great to have that first great experience. And now I want to know more. Now I want to see what these characters have in store, what their stories are. And while I'm probably not going to play the game anytime soon, it's still a matter of being able to reflect these characters and learn about them just through the songs. That's how I got started doing this whole channel effectively. I love to learn about characters and the world that they're in through the musical aspect of it all. So I want to know more about this world. If you haven't any other songs from this game, drop them in the comments below and I will do my best as always to get to those. Or if you want to guarantee one, just like Lazaria did for this one, you can go to my Patreon or my YouTube memberships. There's a tier that will force me to listen to whatever you want, so I'll get to it sooner maybe. It really depends on how many people drop things in the comments below, and if this video does well, I'll try my best to get to one very, very soon. But I guess if you want to see those and you want to follow me and support me for more stuff in the future, you know how to do all that, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye!